Hello everybody, I'm Roadblock. This is a Raid Shadow Legends video, and we are back on the free-to-play challenge account. I'm going to kick today's video off with a bang. We're going to go ahead and pull these shards right away. You can see I've got 4 ancients. This is not how I normally recommend people play Raid Shadow Legends. I recommend saving these. This is an account that's only going to be used for 3 months for the Hell Hades free-to-play challenge. So I play it a little bit differently because I'm getting a lot of new viewers coming into the stream, so I want to make sure you guys know that this is not my recommended guide for a free-to-play account. This is just what I'm doing because we need power quicker and we can't necessarily wait until all the 2Xs. So, but we are in the middle of the weekend. We have an opportunity to get a really great champion in the cat. Let's just go ahead and pull these. And then I want to talk about how I was sleeping on somebody that is on the account and actually made a difference beyond just what I have used her for. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Hold up. Click the link right now in the description to get a free legendary Bambus and 1 amazing free epic as you level up. Here are the exact steps that you need to follow. Step 1, log out of Plarium Play on PC and uninstall. If you've never had Raid installed on your mobile phone before, the link will work there too. Step 2, click the link in the description and register with a brand new email. Step 3, launch Raid and complete the tutorial. Step 4, go to your inbox and claim your first champion. Here we go. You'll find Bambus here as well as Tagoar at level 15. This is a great account start in Raid, so click on my link right now and follow the steps. All right, jumping right into the summons here. Really looking for a good epic. Honestly, I don't really know what epic I would really want at this point. I mean, I feel like there are very few epics even. I'm a Geomancer, actually. Yeah, I take all of it back. I was like, what am I talking about? I want a Geomancer. That would be insane. All right, let's try to pull one more. And now, all right, so we're at 104 in the Mercy towards legendaries. No legendaries from Ancients, period, the entire time on the account. That's pretty rough, but it's fine. It was to be expected. We do get some points in here. I'm probably going to try and get some of these guys here if I can, some of these relic materials. I think it'll help me out a little bit better than a lot of the other stuff that we can get. But who is it that I have been sleeping on? We talked a lot about her, and I feel really, really guilty that I keep making content about Lady Annabelle. But I gotta tell you, she surprised the hell out of me today. Obviously, we've talked about her build a lot, right? Survivability, she gives herself really big heals off of her passive right here, where she heals herself by 50% whenever an allied enemy dies. I have always looked at Lady Annabelle as pretty much only champion for Bommel. That's really the only area that I've ever looked at her, because to be quite honest, by the time you usually pull one, you're so deep into the game that all your other boxes are kind of checked, and it's like, yeah, I don't really need that champion, you know, but she can go clear Bommel and I don't have to worry about it anymore. I don't have to think about it. We can just clear it and be done. She actually does a lot more than that, and I was really surprised by how good her kit is. Nothing too crazy about the A1. Double hitter heals this champion by 3% of their max HP. That's nothing too crazy, right? Little bit of healing out of the A1. This is a pretty good A2. I don't hear people talk enough about Lady Annabelle. AoE hit, 75% chance of placing leech. Also, a 75% chance of placing decrease speed on targets with less than 50% turn meter. Now that's probably the one downside. Because of the 50% turn meter portion, you don't always get that decreased speed. You'd like it to be more consistent, which is why you see other champions that bring decreased speed filling that void. Like Thor kind of comes to mind. Obviously there are different types of champions, but he comes to mind as one that brings decreased speed. I also use Gwendolyn the Owl in some of the other areas of the game, specifically for Gwendolyn's decreased speed. This is really good. This is an AoE decreased speed and leech, and it books up to 100% as well. Obviously there is the one contingency, but I really did not know about this ability, and it's on a 3-turn cooldown when booked. Honestly, that's a good A2. Then we come to the A3. Swaps HP with the target ally. If this champion's HP is equal to or higher than the target's after the swap, places a revive on death on the target ally for 2 turns. If this champion's HP is lower than the target's after the swap, places revive on death on this champion for 2 turns. And then gives all allies increased speed. This is great. right? First of all, even if you just looked at it, now it is a 4-turn cooldown. I'm not a huge fan of that. It's a 2-turn increase speed on a 4-turn cooldown. I would like that to be either a 3-turn increase speed or book down to a 3-turn cooldown. Aside from the cooldown issues, this is a full team increase speed, and this is actually a pretty interesting mechanic, and I want to tell you how I used her and how she really impacted the account. But this is really, really nice for Tagoar, actually, right? So what I can do is do this HP swap with Tagoar, theoretically with Tagoar at full health. If equal to or higher than the target's apta swap, places revive on death on the target ally. Now, she does have more HP currently than my Tagoar. So her HP currently is 70k. My Tagoar is 55k. So provided that Tagoar isn't a massive percentage difference, then this revive on death goes on Tagoar, and that's really nice to have, because if Tagoar accidentally gets like killed by something, then he comes back to life and then can revive the rest of the team. And Lady Annabelle almost never dies because she has such high HP, and I've built her with such high HP, and she heals herself every turn, and she A1s to heal herself every turn, and she places Leech, and she has this passive. Like, she is a hard champion to kill. It's honestly like she kind of carried me through, of all places, she helped me beat the Scarab King. Now, this is not a full auto fight for me. I tried this a couple of different ways. You're going to see right here, this doesn't include her. I took out Taragi and put in Lady Annabelle is basically what I did here. It was still a long fight. I don't have any destroy gear on the account. If for those of you that don't really understand kind of the best way to take, there's several different ways to take on the Scarab King. I mean, the easiest is destroy gear and shield rings. Because as you destroy the enemy's HP, he no longer has the massive damage reduction that he kind of starts to fight with, and you can eventually break him down. If you attack him and you are not under a shield, he will counterattack, and he has a chance to place a provoke, which forces you to attack him. If you're not under a shield, he'll counterattack, which gets you provoked. It's just an endless cycle. You attack, you get provoked. You attack, you get provoked, and he hits pretty hard. Eventually, everybody on your team just kind of dies. The idea here, because I tried this, obviously you saw, actually it wasn't, I took out Ugo, actually, because I need the shields from Taragi. So this was the team that I beat it with. Normally, if you have destroy gear, it's like, okay, yeah, you take a lot of damage, but you also break their HP down with some pretty good A1 hits, decreasing the shield, and eventually you can just overpower and get through. Especially on these lower stages, doesn't hit quite as hard as I've seen him hit in the really high stages of like Doom Tower Hard, right? Basically, what I found when I was using this combo was it was very hard. I only have 2 shielders here, okay? I have Taragi and I have Tagoar, and it's very hard to keep those shields up with this team. The Scarab can steal your shields off of you, which stinks. So that was kind of a bit of an issue with this team. I don't really have a lot of damage either. So I then had a different approach. So this team failed, basically, right? And so I had a different approach, and I was like, so this team got to about halfway through, and I was like, okay, well, you know what? I have a different approach. What if I just throw in Lady Annabelle? We've already proven that Lady Annabelle can't really die, right? We saw that when we put her up against Lommel. We went all the way to 1,500 turns, which is the cap in this game, and we had about that much HP bar left. So we were not anywhere close because she doesn't do a lot of damage, and for all the War Master procs that she does, they don't land because he reduces damage by 90%, I think it is, right? Let's take a look. Yeah, by 90%. Damage received is decreased by 90% if he has less than 10% max HP destroyed. So that didn't work. But if you remember, I said that the team without her did about 50% damage to the boss before they all died. So I was like, well, if I can take the HP down to 50% and everybody dies, and then I just let Lady Annabelle do it all her own, that won't be 1,500 turns. It'll probably take me 30 minutes, but hey, we get the boss down. Actually, that didn't happen. That was my plan. That was my thought process. But what I found out, because I was able to put on a blood shield ring, which means every time that she attacks, she has a shield on, which means she doesn't trigger the counterattacks. So we take fewer counterattacks, and more champions on my team were able to get turns, but she's also keeping a bunch of them alive. So I kept swapping with Tagoar to keep Tagoar alive, who is also one of my shielders with his A3. Taragi came in with the shields and the ally protection. So we actually found out that she makes a really, really good healer. And by having a blood shield ring on her, she triggered the boss less often. And we were even able to place some leech and decrease speeds on the boss, which was really nice. And when some people did die, that just topped her off even more. Swaps HP, tries to prevent Tagoar from dying. And it just worked. It worked. I had to manual it, and it did take me a little bit longer than you probably would have liked, you know, probably about 4. Okay, it didn't take nearly as long as I thought. 4 minutes and 28 seconds, right? So for a full manual, that's pretty darn good. I was really, really pleased with the performance that I got out of Lady Annabelle, and I realized I had been sleeping on her kit as a specialist. She is not just a specialist. She is not just Baumel champion. She can be used elsewhere in the game, even with the same builds that you might have her in for something like Baumel. I was super, super pleased and impressed with her performance, and I'm actually really excited, especially with that decreased speed on an AoE. That could come in really clutch for Hydra. I might try and see if I can fit her in. Not only that, but with her abilities, we could probably in Hydra even find ways to keep Tagoar alive. This is a great champion to take into Chimera, even with the decreased speed, and on certain fights where we don't want to risk dying, maybe she swaps HP with Ugo or Tagoar. They get revived on death, and then we get through like the Viper phase, for instance. Who knows, right? There's a lot of different uses and ways that I really want to experiment with Lady Annabelle, but that's what I love about these free-to-play challenges, is that you get to use champions in ways that you would never think of. I swear I have never built Lady Annabelle as anything other than a Baumel champion. And to see what she was able to do for me to beat a completely different boss that I never would have thought to use her against in a million years, I was super, super impressed. And obviously, yeah, she's one of the only champions that I have built that has a blood shield ring. That makes a big difference because she doesn't trigger the boss's passive as much. I was very, very happy with her. Is she somebody I would use in Clan Boss? No, probably not, right? You can't decrease the speed of the clan boss. Sure, you could get leech, but that doesn't really, you know, get you that much when you have other leech champions like Ugo, for instance, or even Beacon is another option that's a pretty good leech champion. I don't think she's, like, gonna break the game or be, you know, super defining for a lot of content, but I think you could really fit her in a lot of very niche roles. She's a good healer. If you're looking for decreased speed and leech, she can give that to you. Also in an extra increased speed. I mean, when you consider that her increased speed, it would be on a 4-turn cooldown when booked, but Tagoar's is on a 3-turn cooldown when booked. Maybe these fall off and you get an opportunity to keep your increased speed going with just 2 champions doing it, right? Because this is still only a 2-turn on a 3-turn cooldown. So, I don't know. I just really wanted to share that with you guys. I don't know that anybody else has ever really used her in that way or seen that level of performance from her, but I was very impressed. I've never seen her as anything other than a Baumel champion, and I wanted to give her a really big shout out. Well, we're gonna call that a video. I don't know that we're gonna get any more ancients. This one I don't think will be in time, so really it just comes down, is Clan Boss gonna be nice to me, give me any more ancients? We are in March now, so we do have the opportunity to get ancients in the market again, so that could be an opportunity there. I did see this piece, by the way. This is, man, I just wish this was speed. And this is still probably worth taking, to be completely honest with you guys, but it's a little expensive. My silver is a little low. It's such a hard sell. I am going to pass on it, but if it was speed, it would be an instant buy. But I think we're going to call that a video today. Keep an eye out. I have been waiting to feel better. As you can tell, I'm feeling so much better. I'm way more like myself to start working on some guide videos that I really want to get out there for you guys. So keep an eye out for those. Keep an eye out for more content coming on the free-to-play and the main. We are entering March. The March Fusion is probably going to start up in a couple of days. I wouldn't be surprised if it's I don't have any information. I wouldn't be surprised if it was next week. I wonder, because next weekend is the champion chase. So usually for a longest time they started on a summon rush. Now it seems like they kind of start them on a champion chase, which I actually don't like, because then you don't get the extra points from summoning like the champions that you may get right from the fusion. I really want this fusion to be good. It'll give me a reason to play. The more information I find out, the more information you guys are going to hear from me. As always, I want to say thank you guys for watching. If you are new here and have not yet clicked that subscribe button, please consider doing so. It is one of the best ways to support me right now. The other way, for those of you that have been here for quite some time, if you want to support me directly, there is a link in the description and in the top comment on the video with a link code if you wanted to start up a new account and find rare gems like Lady Annabelle and use them in different ways than you ever would have imagined. This has been so much fun for me. I love doing stuff like this, as you guys know if you've been here for some time. That is a great code to get you a great start. You get Bambus, and then you get Tagoar at 15. We just talked about Tagoar quite a bit in this video, so I highly recommend you do that. I think the best way to learn more about the game is to actually start a second account. I know it's crazy. Some people don't always agree with that, but I think it's a great way to learn more about the game. It's kind of like rewatching a movie where, you know, that second time you watch it and you're like, oh, I totally missed. I didn't realize that was a thing that was in the movie. They said that thing like 30 minutes in and I totally missed it and went the whole movie not understanding that they said this one thing, right? It's like that. You learn so much stuff. You find out so much little information, and it improves you as a player, as in general, right? And I highly recommend doing it. So yeah, I would give that a shot. Either way, guys, thanks for watching. I will see you all in the next video. Take care.